A lot of people have been talking about the World Economic Forum lately. Now, they just had their meeting in Davos right alongside the World Health Organization's big meeting trying to get these new global powers. On that note, I'm going to be having a special episode coming out this Friday. That's going to be with Alex Newman, and I'm going to detail to you what happened at Davos, what happened with the World Economic Forum meeting, what happened with the World Health Organization meeting. Yes, the stuff got blocked, but they actually have upcoming 2 different meetings where they're going to be trying to pass these new powers they want to get. We're also going to talk about the Bilderberg, something not talked about very often. So tune in this coming Friday for an interview with Alex Newman on that. But on the World Economic Forum, there's 2 things people often talk about. Well, one being the main agendas they have, such as Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21. They are actually working with the United Nations on both of those programs. This Friday we're going to have that. But people also talk a lot about the Great Reset. And for some reason, the Great Reset is called conspiracy theory. I want to show you the real story on this. I did some deep diving into their website, into some of their documents. And with that as well, people are talking about the food crisis. And well, is there some kind of agenda with the food crisis, especially with meat? And are they really trying to make us eat bugs? Why would they want to make us eat bugs? Well, folks, I looked into it, and this is what I found. Let me show you. Now, the rising meat prices in the United States and in many parts of the world right now seem to tie very closely to an anti-meat agenda. And on this, they want you to eat the bugs. They do want you to eat the bugs, folks. Let me tell you this. It says here, this is Epic Times, I'll start off. It says, acute food insecurity on the rise as record 49 million people face threat of famine. The risk of famine is no longer just a rumor. We've been talking about it for a long time now. It's here, it is happening, and they're acknowledging it's happening, and they're acknowledging it's going to get worse. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, and the United Nations World Food Program, they've officially warned now of multiple looming food crises prompted, they say, by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, climate shocks, such as floods and droughts and other issues, and the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic because, well, some of these same organizations decided to shut down the global economy and global shipping as part of the crisis. And so they caused it. In a June 7th report titled Hunger Hotspots, this report from the FAO and WFP, again, both of the United Nations, early warnings on acute food insecurity. The organization said that acute food insecurity is likely to deteriorate further in 20 nations across the globe between now and September. And they're calling for an urgent humanitarian action. In other words, it's going to get worse. They're acknowledging it's here. It's going to get worse. Additionally, they're saying 49 million people in 46 countries throughout the world may be facing famine or famine-like conditions unless they receive, quote, immediate life and livelihood saving assistance, the organization said. Now, that figure includes 750,000 people in what they say are already catastrophic states, defined in areas that have extreme critical levels of acute malnutrition and mortality. People are dying of hunger, in other words. Now, if we're facing a food crisis, why are they having these crazy policies that are making it worse, like restricting fertilizers, like paying farmers to stop farming, like designating fertilizers as being an environmental threat, like, for example, making it so rail lines in the United States can't ship fertilizer? Why are they doing stuff like this? Well, here's another one to add to the list. This is from KTLA. It says here, California lawmakers are considering buying out farmers because they're saying it's going to save on water, because farmers need to water their crops. But there's a crisis, folks, because when farmers water their crops, it uses water. And as we know, California has a drought, which is also man-made because they have reservoirs of water that could easily give water to the whole state, which they're not allowed to use because there's an endangered salmon they have to protect, so they actually dump the water right into the ocean, and that's been shown to not actually help the salmon, but they keep it in place anyways, just in case the salmon need it. But this is the cause of the drought, and they're saying now that in order to fix the drought that they've caused, they also need to try to get rid of farming, because farming uses water. Let me show you what they're doing right now. It says, after decades of fighting farmers in court over how much water they can take out of California's rivers and streams, some state lawmakers want to try something different. Use taxpayer money. When you pay taxes, this is what this is what they want to use it for, to buy out farmers. They want to pay farmers to stop farming so that they stop using water for crops. A proposal in the state Senate would spend up to $1.5 billion with the B to buy senior water rights and allow farmers to take as much water as needed from the state's rivers and streams to go to their crops. But if state officials owned those rights, right? So they want to buy these rights that allow farmers to use as much water as they need. They want to buy these rights so that they could leave the water in the rivers to benefit endangered species of salmon and other fish. As I told you, folks, the cause of the drought in California, it's because of this endangered salmon narrative. They say there's an endangered salmon they have to protect. And not only are they causing a drought to save the salmon, again, on a policy that's shown to not actually help the fish, they want to stop farming. They want to pay farmers using your money. They want to pay them to stop farming in order to so they stop using the water. And they're doing this right now as the United Nations itself is saying 49 million people are risking famine, including dying of starvation. That's how they're reacting to this. Now, on this note, right? Remember that Biden himself admitted recently that he has no solution. He's not doing anything. There's no solution, he says, to the rising food prices or the rising gas prices. He's thrown up his arms and he's admitted publicly that there's nothing he can do about it. I mean, maybe other than, say, taking off some of the policies that, were making America a net exporter of oil, which he put caps on so they can't do anymore. Maybe if he just removed those policies, but like a monkey holding a banana in a box, it ain't going to let go of that banana, right? Let me show you this, right? And again, the politics are more important. They're not going to let go of the banana of politics, right? They're not going to release that thing and end the crisis. They want to keep it. They have to hold on to it. And so if that means, 49 million people need to starve to death, well, maybe that needs to happen according to the politics right now. If that means you have to pay $8 at the pump if you're in California, $8 per gallon in California in some parts, well, that's just how it is. And they're saying now across the whole United States, around $6 per gallon is going to be about average. Right? They're not going to release that policy. But on this note, folks, it's not just food and gas, but especially meat. And there is a real agenda with this, as they're admitting publicly and as they've shown previously. And the long-term goal of this, many people believe, is like artificial, lab-grown meat, such as the stuff Bill Gates is doing in some regards, these lab-grown salmon. Things like, what do they even call it, this miracle meat, this weird meat they have. But also things like bugs. And I'm going to be showing you this, but first let's start from the top. I'm going to show you first Bloomberg in 2021. This is in Europe, okay? This is Europe. This is what was happening there. They're saying that steaks, i.e. meat, could soon become a champagne-like luxury. In many different parts of the world, they want meat to become a luxury good. Europe first. Bloomberg said this. The boss of Europe's top meat processors said beef will become a luxury like champagne because of the climate impact of producing it. It's about climate change, they're saying, because of the climate impact of producing it. They're saying, quote, beef is not going to be super climate friendly. Danish Crown Chief Executive Officer Thijs Valliere said in an interview with Danish newspaper Berlingske, it will be a luxury product that we eat when we want to treat ourselves. Meat companies are coming under pressure to curb greenhouse gases, with 57% of all the food industry emissions coming from making animal products, according to the one study. Tackling methane emissions, the cows are farting. Methane emissions, right? Tackling methane emissions from livestock is one of the most crucial climate challenges for producers. How do you get the cows to stop farting? Right? Because cows emit methane. I'm not joking on this. This is actually serious because they have policy on the cows and the methane emissions. I will show you this, but let me go over a bit more of this first. Next, I want to show you Canada. Okay, that's Europe. This is Canada now. 2021. Meat is a luxury in most countries, and it's becoming one in Canada. Meat represents a big portion of anyone's food budget, roughly 20% on average. If saving money at the grocery store is a priority for some, cutting meat is an easy target. Now, this is in the UK. Breitbart News reported this story. Eat the bugs. UK school children fed insects to encourage sustainability. Because, apparently crickets don't have methane emissions, right? Crickets don't fart.